been a little while since I played Terraria, so let's hop back and see what I've been up to. Something I feel like I should mention before we start for real is I did a little bit of off-camera building. It wasn't really supposed to be a lot. I was just building platforms off-camera. That spiraled out of control and ended up with me fighting the wall of flesh, and I actually killed it. So that's why, in a little bit, you might see this crystal cave when I get deeper down. That's because I activated hard mode. I didn't mean to activate hard mode, but here it is. Yeah, there's crystals and stuff here. I was kind of shocked by it. I didn't really know how to use the crystals yet. But, yeah, I killed the wall of flesh, but I forgot to record it. So, I decided to just fight it one more time to prove that I did it. Something else you'll see here is this. This is the remnants of the box that the wall of flesh drops, because if it drops its stuff, there's a high chance that the stuff will just go into lava. So instead of that, it takes the form of this box. It drops all its drops in this box. And I got a hammer, and I got a long sword that looked like Cloud Sword. I wanted to fight the wall of flesh again, but I accidentally tossed 5 voodoo dolls into the lava when you're only supposed to toss 1. And that ended up killing Damal, the dye trader, Jamal, the arms dealer, and Zon, my goblin tinkerer. But here we go again. I had to keep moving back, and I honestly was kind of doing a pathetic amount of damage. I tried my best to clear out all the pieces of the houses that I needed to be gone, but clearly I didn't do a good enough job. So I was kind of just throwing my sun fry that I also got at it. It's just like the meatball, but like fire. I also got this demon scythe that I dropped from a voodoo demon. So that was interesting. I got it to around 2,500 health when another demon came by and just made things a lot harder. For some reason, my footage kept glitching out, and it was kind of hard to look at, and I died. I didn't feel like sacrificing more of my villagers just to prove that I did something I already did. So here in my bestiary, you can see that I killed the wall of flesh. So yeah. I already activated hard mode, so I was going to go do hard mode stuff and get stuff and map out the new biomes and all the new stuff that comes with hard mode. I was in the middle of trying to figure out how the heck these pylons are supposed to work when a goblin army started to charge on my town again. I was nervous because this is hard mode now, so it's going to be a lot harder, which means there's new enemies and a whole lot more enemies. I really don't know why, but it just seemed like there were like 20 more goblin mages than there were the last few times. Like, they were shooting at me through walls, and there's like nothing I can do about it because I can't hit all their projectiles, and I died. I tried to use a bow I crafted to do better with my vast amount of arrows, but it didn't work, and I died. Because now they have necromancers or spell raisers or something, I don't know, someone who sends these flying skulls at me that are snow flame apparitions. So I decided to use the cheesiest strat I could think of and let Lucy go buck wild on her. So I kept on going and killed more goblin sorcerers, which were the ones sending the skulls, and after a relatively painful amount of time, I decided to finally use this strange potion I found called an Inferno Potion. It summons a ring of fire around me, and it makes me turn things on fire. It did help a little bit, but like the sword I had moves so slowly that it barely hits them at all. I didn't realize it, but apparently my guide Steve had died, so Daniel the guide arrived. Thankfully though, I'm not sure, I don't think anyone else died, and they didn't. But then I saw this strange doll up top. I thought it was like a kind of gun or something, but I was wrong. It was actually really cool. It was an annoying shadow flame voodoo doll, and let me show you what it does. Before we do that, though, I also found this godly shadow flame knife, which is also really good. But the main thing I was interested in was all the random costumes that dropped. I got a princess outfit, a wolf outfit, a vampire outfit, all kinds of outfits I got to sell because I didn't want any of them. Anyways, back to the weird doll. I noticed that it was a weapon, not an equipable, so I decided to try it out, and whoop! It shoots tentacles of lasers and stuff. The only bad part is that it's annoying, so it has less damage and less speed. And John, the Goblin Tinkerer, he could reforge it and give me a better one. But he died when I threw the voodoo dolls into fire, and I was afraid I was going to have to find him again, but lo and behold, he showed up a few minutes later. So that's really good. I was afraid I was going to have to find him again, but I didn't have to. I didn't reforge it quite yet because I wanted to see what was new with the map, and the desert had turned into this, a pixie land. Weird. It had purple water and still had that meteor area that crashed into my very deep hole that I tried to dig. But yeah, and over here's the normal desert, which now has mummies. I paid Zon when I got back to reforge my Shadow Flame doll, and it got the murderous reforge, which makes it faster and do more damage. So it's a lot better now. While it was nighttime, I went back to my old arena above ground. You might be wondering why I'm here. Well, my raid kinda dropped a bunch of new boss items, so I decided to fight the Destroyer and Skeletron Prime. This was definitely a great idea. I knew a strategy, though, to place spiky balls all over the place, and that worked, but I also died in like 5 seconds. I decided to go back and fight Skeletron Prime. Yeah, the Skeletron that I barely beat, and now he has lasers and 4 arms now. I decided to use my voodoo doll this time, and it was actually doing pretty good, and so are my spiky balls, because they damage anything that runs into them. So I kept poking it with my magical tentacles, but it still died. One last thing I wanted to do before I moved on to hard mode stuff was to make the 100% pickaxe power volcano pickaxe. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's a hellstone pickaxe. Also, little tidbit, while I was off screen building those platforms, blood moon happened and a zombie dropped a money trough. Does that name sound familiar? It should, because that's the thing that I lost the piggy bank with. And even though it's a different money trough, it summons the same piggy bank, so all my stuff from all that time ago was back. Most of it was kind of useless, so I mostly sold off most of it. Like the Batwing does a laughable amount of damage. Anyways, I mined all the hellstone that I needed to get and got a lot of lava that I needed too. Also, a thing I wanted to do while I was down here was go all the way down. And I got the achievement Rock Bottom, which is when you reach the absolute bottom of the map. It was really cool because that means that I have gone from the highest point to the lowest point, and I've visited each of them. So, that's interesting, isn't it? After farming a bit more obsidian, I made 32 hellstone bars, which, strangely enough, everything, or most of the stuff at least, made with hellstone uses exactly 20 hellstone bars. Curious. There's also that dark mage, that just shows up. I don't know what it is. It makes sounds. I think it might actually be a suit of armor, now that I think about it. But anyways, I went to the anvil and I crafted the volcano pickaxe. I forgot what it's called, but it's the hellstone pickaxe and it's the best pickaxe in the game. At least I'm pretty sure. Before I did that, though, I actually wanted to buy the Tinkerer's Workshop from Zon. The thing is about this is that it's not like a normal workbench where I can craft multiple items. It actually allows me to combine accessories, which is good. So now I have so then I can make myself a free slot and put in more accessories. and I knew just the two things I wanted to combine. Pretty obviously, you can't just combine anything, so I decided to try and combine my Hermes boots and my rocket boots, because they're both boots. And sure enough, I could combine them. A new recipe popped up, and they were for the Spectre boots. They allow me to float with the rocket, like the rocket boots do. I think even allow me to fly higher, and I got the lucky, which gives me more critical hit chance. Anyways, it's just a combination of both the Hermes boots and the rocket boots, and now I can fly like clouds. Speaking of clouds, now there are even evil clouds in the sky. Hard mode really just seems to make everything in the world want to kill me. I was testing out my Shadow Flame knife, which is like a throwing knife that's infinitely reusable, where I got word that Celestia died. For some reason, I'm not sure why. Probably because the NPCs never bothered to shut their doors. But she did like going outside, and I even built her a little staircase to get over the hill. And she probably got caught with some caught out in the open by some zombies or something. No use on dwelling what can't be undone. I decided to now finally start my quest to get some wings. So I had a giant harpy feather, which can be used to craft harpy wings, but I needed two things. I needed souls of flight, and I needed a mithril anvil. I knew that mithril had to spawn by now, so all I needed were souls of flight. I looked it up, as I normally do, and there's these giant flying dragons that once you kill them, they drop souls of flight. I tried to fight them earlier, but I died, and I didn't. And I realized I really need better weapons. But now I have better weapons, and they're ranged. So the dragons, I should be a better match for the dragons. I got this cool ghost costume, which, now that I think about it, since it's Halloween season, the enemies, or the pumpkins, slimes probably drop, they probably drop costumes, which makes sense. And then, a dragon came and attacked me. These are the guys I needed, and they're very long and very tough. But now I had stronger weapons that were weapons from hard mode, or from hard mode time, so yeah, they should do a lot of damage. And to my surprise, they were actually really good, and I made quick work of it, actually. I even got 10 souls of flight, but I needed 20, so I should only need one more dragon air. I don't know what they're called. I don't know. I just need one more dragon, and I should be able to craft it after I get the mithril anvil. When I finally got home, I remembered to craft the molten pickaxe and got the achievement Miner of Fire for crafting the strongest pickaxe in the whole game. So yeah, I can mine anything now. So I was gonna put that to use, but I didn't know what I could mine yet. I didn't feel like scouring for ores yet, but I wanted to get everything done before I went mining for mithril, to craft the anvil, to craft my wings, yada yada. I decided to bring back out my Knight's Edge because even though I had worked pretty much the entire last episode to get it, it wasn't very strong compared to my other sword that I got from fighting the Wall of Flesh. Also, there's my new Dryad. Her name's Callista, I think, at least. She also told me that there's a different kind of corruption now, that it's now hollowed. I wasn't sure what that is, but I knew I needed hollowed bars to create the better version of one of my weapons. For the comet launcher, the thing that launches the shooting stars, I'm pretty sure that's I need hollowed bars for that, but I don't think it's the wood. I'm not sure. But I figured that the hollow was somewhere here because here the wood was a different name. It was living wood, so I wanted to go check there and see if that's what I was looking for. I didn't find the hollow, but I did find these pixies that drop pixie dust, and I also found a robot outfit. I decided to take another look at what I needed to make the true Knight's Edge, because that's the stronger version, and I need a stronger version of the Knight's Edge. And I needed fright, light, and might. Sight, fright, and might. I don't know how to get those souls, so I decided to just look at what I could use with the souls of flight. And turns out that I could make fairy wings with a lot more pixie dust. I could make angel wings with souls of light, and I could make harpy wings with just a giant harpy feather. I needed a mithril anvil to do all that, though. So I looked to see if there was any way I could get out of making a mithril anvil, but no, all of them required me to do it. So I guess I was going to go mining for some mithril. I did a little bit of poking around in the crystal caverns, but I still couldn't find anything. Kept finding interesting looking enemies, but no mithril and no new ores at all, actually. In fact, it wasn't even stone, it was tough. I found this strange bat. I think it was a jewel bat or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what these guys' names were. I did find crystal shards everywhere, but I didn't know what I could make with those yet. I found out that the name of these things were Illuminati bats when I found a skeleton trader. I don't know. He sold a bunch of strange stuff. He sold ropes and bombs, but he also sold stuff like a wooden boomerang, and mostly stuff for yo-yos, actually. It was a lot of strange stuff, but I bought a bone torch just because I wanted to see if he would come to my town or something, or if he's just, I had to find him each time. I still couldn't find anything, but I did find this cool other, sword that allowed me to teleport, but every single time I teleported, it would not only drain my health, but it would also risk chance of just making me die. Anyways, I decided to go back to the Sky Island because it was nighttime, and I figured the Wyverns, that's why I figured out their names were, I figured the Wyverns could only be found during nighttime. So I kept on hopping up into the sky because I know that's where they came from. Eventually another wyvern showed up, and it was a lot harder to fight because I was kind of exhausted from fighting the harpies, and I didn't realize what the Rod of Discord did, which is the teleporting sword I told you about earlier. The Rod of Discord, I didn't realize what it did yet. It looked like a sword to me. So I just kept throwing my magical throwing knife at it, and I kept on teleporting on top of it by accident. And I barely killed it on 13 health. I probably could have healed, and I didn't actually realize I killed it until 30 seconds after I actually killed it. Unfortunately, this one only dropped 5 souls of flight, so I needed 5 more to get enough for the wings, because all of them cost 20 souls of flight. I jumped off the island just to get back to the ground, but then, to my surprise, a wyvern actually followed me. I have no idea how. I thought they would only stay up in the sky, but I was kind of caught off guard, and I died because I was fighting harpies all the way down. I went back up to try and find the wyvern again, but I couldn't. So I jumped off to head back to the ground because I wanted to go and do something else. Or I wanted to go and see if it was still on the ground. And then literally the exact same thing happened. A wyvern had somehow followed me all the way from the sky to the ground. This was interesting because it was daytime. I thought that the wyverns were nocturnal, but apparently they're not. I guess time doesn't really work while you're up in the sky so high, where you have low gravity. I just kind of locked on and mashed my throwing knife at it, and I killed it. And I got a bunch more souls of flight. It was enough, so all I had to do was mine for mithril. But that'll have to wait until the next episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.